Good evening and welcome to the very first edition of After the Buzzer, our new YouTube series that will be going up after every home game for now and eventually after every road game. I'm Couper Moorhead, Heat Insider, and I'm coming to you from the Kaseya Center where the Miami Heat just defeated the Detroit Pistons 106-98 for their second win of their season. They're now 2-1. And tonight we're going to talk about three things. The first half offense is particularly how Terry Rozier and Tyler Hero are kind of working within that unit. The fourth quarter run that Jimmy Butler's bench unit keyed and what that tells us about the Heat. And then at the end, we'll talk briefly about Dwyane Wade's statue, which was just unveiled last night. And Dwyane was again in the building tonight talking to us. So, the first half offense. There's been a big storyline for most of the preseason, training camp, everything about how Terry Rozier, Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Nikola Jovic, how that unit is going to kind of maybe revitalize, improve the efficiency on the team's offense. And a lot of questions have been about how Terry and Tyler, both with similar skill sets, similar profiles, similar efficiency profiles, how they're going to really connect together on the court. How can they play off of each other rather than playing sort of against each other, taking turns, as sometimes teams will see when you have high volume shot creators together. Well, tonight was great. Just like against Charlotte, it was great, and even in the first half of Orlando, the offense worked really well. What we're seeing with Terry and Tyler is that they're not running pick and rolls together, but it's the ability to run an action with one. Tyler runs a pick and roll with Bam Adebayo, right wing. Tyler goes baseline. There's Terry on the left wing, waiting wide open for three. Or, maybe there's a closeout situation. Now Terry can run another pick and roll with Nikola Jovic, or he can run a pick and roll with Jimmy Butler. It all kind of flows together, and I think that's sort of the vision you see for what Erik Spoelstra has for that starting unit. Those guys being able to run multiple actions seamlessly on top of each other. So the offense never slows down, never gets bogged down, and never gets stuck in the muck. And tonight, in the first half, Miami had an offensive rating of 142.2, which is just pretty much as good as you can get offensive rating-wise. Now, a lot of it has to do with shot profile. Erik Spoelstra wants the team cutting out mid-range shots a bit from their diet. And what you saw tonight from Terry and Tyler, those two, they took 36 shots between the two of them, scoring 39 points. And of those 36 total shots, they attempted one apiece, combined shots from the true mid-range, the area outside the paint between the arc. That's what we'll call the true mid-range. So that's really what you want to see. Tyler's bought into it. Terry's bought into it. Tyler, I asked post-game, how are you feeling out what Erik Spoelstra is asking of you shot profile-wise? And he said he's really feeling it.
I'm just trying to be intentional with it, and honestly, it feels good. Like some of the mid-range shots are forced, so being able to just play within the offense, as you see, I still get my shot attempts. They're all good looks, and I'd rather take good ones than taking tough contested twos. Other teams will leave that to them.
He wants to be intentional about it. He's thinking about it, but it's becoming more instinctual gradually as they play more within this offense because he's still getting good looks. He's still got 20 shots tonight. You don't have to force the mid-range shots just to get your looks. He's finding those looks within the offense. Even though Miami's three-point shooting tonight kind of cooled off a bit in the second half, those shots were all still there. And if a few more threes don't rim in and out, the efficiency from those two is still going to look great. And what you saw, at the end of the Charlotte game and at the end tonight, those threes did eventually fall, and that puts the game away. All right, so the fourth quarter starts. Miami is down by just a little. Jimmy Butler's out there with the bench unit. Last year, Jimmy Butler's bench lineups with Kevin Love, with that 5-out spacing, really marked Miami's best offense all year. This year, Kevin Love hasn't been available for the first three games due to personal reasons, so Thomas Bryant has kind of slid into that group. And Bryant hit a three tonight, so he can also offer some of that 5-out spacing. But what that unit does is really, it's just a lot of shooters. It's a lot of space for Jimmy. And it gives Jimmy the opportunity. He can drive against anybody, but very few guys love to find a mismatch on the floor and attack them. And when you can attack a guy in space, that defender is put in a position where he either has to play perfect defense or he has to be physical with you. And if you can get physical, if Jimmy can get you into that physical game, he's going to find a way to draw a foul. So in those opening minutes of the fourth quarter, there's Jimmy in space, and he finds the rookie, Ron Holland. Jimmy goes right at him. Gets the free throw line once, second time down the floor, and one. Layup. So that's, we're going to see it all season long, and when Kevin Love is available again, you're going to see Jimmy in those bench lineups available. Just find the mismatch and attack. And again, Charlotte and Detroit, unlike Orlando, they both have had plenty of mismatches for Jimmy and Bam particularly. Those are the mismatch hunters. They've had guys to attack. Other thing I liked about that early fourth quarter run, it was a 9-0 run in about a minute. Jimmy gets the free throw line twice. He also get a violation free throw, a free one, off a lane violation. Then 2 more scores, pick sixes, where it's just like in football. You get the turnover, you go take it down and score. Haywood Highsmith is heavily involved. Haywood was plus 17 tonight in just 21 minutes. Haywood is always kind of an unsung plus-minus hero because of his ability to do this. But, Spo has been preaching disruption and activity. And tonight, Detroit had 16 turnovers. 14 of those were live ball turnovers. They were steals on Miami's part. Jimmy had 5 of those. That doesn't happen very often. Usually, if you're getting half of the turnovers you force are live ball, that's great. But 14 of 16, that doesn't happen very often. And Miami must have had at least 5, maybe even more of those pick 6 turnovers, which really fuels their offense. For as much as we talk about how is the half-court offense going to blend together, the Heat's best point of emphasis in the season so far for their offense might be the point of emphasis for their defense, which is to be disruptive in the passing lanes. And I asked Spo after the game, how do you coach up being disruptive on defense? That's not an easy thing to just say, go and do it, but it's also not necessarily always a schematic thing as much as aggression is built into their defensive scheme.
There's a certain activity level. There's a mental awareness and being ahead of the play, like being activated every single possession. There's a lot of plays that you can put your fingerprints on in an NBA game, or you can just chill out, on the weak side. That's not how we're going to win games. That's not how we're built to our strengths. We have speed, quickness, guys that can make plays defensively. We have to activate that, but you have to commit to it.
All right, lastly, tonight was kind of the culmination of Dwyane Wade's statue unveiling. It was a multiple-day celebration, lots of events. Dwyane talked to the media twice. Yesterday, he spoke about all the details he loved in the statue. Tonight, he had an opportunity to react to the reaction to the statue unveiling.
It's a lot of talk about me in this world. Y'all got to know me by now. I care, but I don't. Talk more about our statue, come out and see it, take some photos, send some memes. When sitting down with the Miami Heat and myself, what we wanted to do is we wanted to capture a moment that represented the organization, represented myself, and represented the city. I felt like we captured that moment in an artistic form, an artistic way. If I wanted to look like me, I'll just stand outside the arena, y'all, and take photos. You don't need to look like me. It's an artistic version of a moment that happened that we're trying to cement. I'm just, my family and I just woke up today still in disbelief that we were chosen, that I was chosen to be, the first person in this organization's history and this to have that honor.
He is enamored with the statue. He seems to love it. And he said he loves it because it's an artistic interpretation of the most important individual moment in his career. That's good enough for him. That should be good enough for all of us, I think. And the story of that statue, we know the story it represents of Dwyane Wade, the most important player in Miami Heat history. But it's also a story that is just starting because now that statue has its own life. It's a piece of history outside the Miami Heat arena. It's not a championship trophy that you see, if you're lucky, every once in a while. You can go outside and touch it. You can touch history, and it's going to be there for decades and decades and decades. And we'll see how the generations after all of us treat that statue and what it comes to mean for them. With that said, it's a fun weekend. Heat are 2-1. Their offense is starting to come together. Still some work to do, but that's what the rest of the season is for. Until then, this has been After the Buzzer. I'm Couper Moorhead, and I'll see you next time.